Oi, Nud, what you got there? Books? Dice?
Yup, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got into this situation. Well, it all started one day when I was listening to this show.
There's a place so very far. We can get there as long as it's by stolen car. Smash your face and go shoot up.
This is the Heavy Metal RPG Podcast with your host, Banjo Destructo.
Heavy metal, metal land.
Today's episode is brought to you by Coca-Cola.
I'd like to give the world an oak and burn the whole thing down. Give an oak to 'em.
Welcome to the Heavy Metal RPG Podcast. My name is Banjo. I'm your host. Today I'd like to talk about Unnatural Selections, Volume 1, a monster book for Dungeon Crawl Classics and Mutant Crawl Classics, written by Louis Hoefer of the This Old Dungeon podcast. This is a monster book similar to... This is a monster book in the style of a 3-ring binder book where it is intended to be able to be expanded with new monsters, or you can just open up the binder, take out the page of the monster that you want to use, and you will be able to, have that as a reference without having to flip through the entire book to find the information. So you can take the pages out and put them back in as you see fit. You can, add like Volume 2. Like when Volume 2 gets made, you can take that and add it to the same binder. Or, there's some information in here about the InDesign files, as well as a blank page that you can use as a template to make your own monsters and add it to the collection as you see fit. So really, there's lots of cool interchangeability and adaptability if you're willing to keep with the idea that you can put more in and take them out from the binder as you see fit. Like, let's see here. Oh, wow, yeah, like, so I'm just looking here, there, like, one example of a monster, like, this is a sandworm. You've got a whole bunch of information about it on one side of this page. You flip it over to the other, and yeah, so it's got, of course, all the stats you need for combat. It's got information about it damaging other things nearby. Lots of the monsters here, they've got like the organizational information, whether or not, the monster would be encountered as a solitary creature, in a pack, in a family, that sort of stuff. What kind of disposition the monster might have, so whether it might possibly be friendly or neutral, or let's see here. Yeah, like benevolent, skittish, grazers, parasitic, a bunch of stuff like that. Size category, treasure, like the kinds of treasure that you would be able to find from each of these monsters. And it's got, describing how monsters move, what kind of random encounter charts you might be able to find them in. It's got information about the general terminology that you would find in the book. There's a couple different random encounter charts already provided in this book as well for different areas like jungles, mountains, swamps, stuff like that. Random treasure table. for the different kinds of treasure you might find, like personal effects, hoards of treasure, the stuff they might have from victims that they've previously killed, item lists, gemstones. Here's a blank page for you. Yeah. Alien observer, bear ant, whole bunch of cool monsters in this. Now, I got this as a little prize from the This Old Dungeon podcast, so thank you, Louie. This arrived in the mail in great condition. This is not a paid review. I thought that this was so interesting, I wanted to make this the topic of this episode, although maybe just a brief topic. I'm not entirely sure if I can stretch out an entire episode around this, but who knows? I can get chatting and yammering on about who knows what else. I've never talked about Mutant Crawl Classics very much on this podcast so far. Mutant Crawl Classics I found interesting when I first heard about it. I still haven't gotten any of the books for it. The online group that I play with, we had been playing Dungeon Crawl Classics for a while, but there never seemed to be much interest in Mutant Crawl Classics from the other people. And with money being tight, I never decided to get Mutant Crawl Classics because I didn't think I'd get to use it because of all the other stuff I've purchased and have never really used in games. Although I must say I've gotten lots of inspiration for games and stories and other ideas from RPG books that I have never actually had the chance to play the game written inside of them. I have taken those ideas and put them in other things. So from that perspective, you could say that it might be worth the investment. I still haven't decided yet. So, once again, Unnatural Selections Volume 1, I think it's out now. If you want another monster book, I think this is great. And you'd be supporting a third-party independent publisher. I know Louis worked hard on this and he got some additional help. I asked him if he had anything he wanted to say or if he had any input for what he wanted to be said during this episode about it, if he had some words about the process of making this. And he says, he realized after he started working on this just how hard it is to make a monster book. He thinks most people probably who want to make a monster book, just like him, have about 20 good monsters in you. And then you think, oh man, I got 20 done, but now I got to make 60 more monsters, and I've already run out of ideas, and that's really hard. So he says it took a lot of thought and inspiration to keep moving forward with different monsters to offer new ways of challenging players in the encounters that are different than just increasing the hit points, increasing the armor class, things like that, which are just very surface level ways to increase the difficulty or the challenge. He thinks that this book needed to be able to stand on its own and to cover a wide range of common encounters with various different challenges of hit dice for different level players. So picking it out was tough, he says. And he says he included lots of monster kits in this to kind of broaden the availability inside of it, like a giant insect section where you're given a bunch of traits and special powers in an a la carte style to make a variety of different insects. So it allows people running their games to get a little bit more bang for their buck for the different creatures inside of it. And he's saying in future volumes, then he can probably come back with specific pre-made insects to have good gimmicks on them. And of course, he says he had lots of fun with 3 creatures that are homages to old science fiction RPGs that he loved as a kid. And he's getting ready with a lineup of new monsters for Volume 2. He wants to launch Volume 2 in August as a cheap or small blister pack of 30 monsters that will fill in the binder that comes with the deluxe edition. So the deluxe edition of this book comes with a 3-ring binder. It doesn't have enough pages to completely fill it, but I can tell you that... How many of those does it have? This has got like... Let's see here. Wow, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 5, 10. I mean, this has got almost 100, maybe? How many pages is this? Well, I don't think the pages are numbered because you can just kind of flip through them as you see fit. But there's like... Wow, yeah. I would say it's totally worth looking at it to see for yourself if you want to get it. But this is like how thick is this? By itself, it is almost half an inch thick of monsters, probably a good 80 or so. You can get this from Goodman Games on their website when it is available. And, speaking of products that are going to be available, right now I'm working on my first adventure. My first, second, third, and fourth adventures, actually. It's really hard for me to keep focused, but the first adventure I plan on having come out is called Birth of the Moon Reaper. And just like how Louis said he's got some homage to science fiction in his, there's definite homage to science fiction in this adventure. I'm not going to spoil anything yet, but look forward to that soon. I'm working on learning some editing skills to be able to do the digital layout and some artwork. Hopefully it'll be available as print on demand. I'm not sure about actually getting it published. Right now, I'm only doing PDFs. This one I hope to be able to do print on demand as well. Birth of the Moon Reaper. It's going to be a standalone product where you can add it to your DCC or MCC campaigns. Some of it is intended to just throw along other stuff that's going on in your world. Like, it's not a straightforward adventure. It's more like a series of happenings that are going on in the world, changing some of the events in the world that go along with the story that is in the adventure. So it depends on you and your players how much you would get engaged with it. But I think there's some pretty cool items in there that your players might want to get their hands on. And if they do, they have to interact with the stuff that's going on. I'll talk more about that later. But for now, I guess that's all I wanted to say about Unnatural Selections, Volume 1. Check it out if you would like. I give it a thumbs up. I'll probably use some of these in my next game. Everybody, take care of yourselves. I'll see you all in the Metal Lands where everybody rolls dice. All right, quick addendum here. I didn't mention this, but, Louis been talking about this on his podcast. Unnatural Selections was a Kickstarter project that he started. So congratulations. He got fully funded $5,500. That's impressive as far as I'm concerned. Right now, I can't find it on the Goodman Games website, but it is available on Barnes & Noble as of March 2023. So I don't know if it's shipping out now, but you can definitely purchase it. Alrighty, thank you all. Have a good night.
Filthy hair and dirty faces, iron fiends and swords and maces. 80s hairbands are still hated, no false metal tolerated.
Today's episode is brought to you by Orca-Cola. I'd like to give the world an orc and give it... Wait...